My next question has come through from Jessica. Hi Paul, my dog has gone back to chasing bikes and runners, generally woofing at people, which she hasn't done since she was a puppy. I think it's because she's used to getting a lot of attention on our walks, which she isn't getting at the moment. Sometimes I can distract her, sometimes not. How can I stop her doing this? Thanks. Right, Jessica. What I want you to think about is why aren't you giving your dog the attention you was before? I know we're in this situation, but what kind of attention are you giving, and what's changed from before to what you've got now? What I'm kind of thinking, I'm going to go back to basics on this one, just because I don't know your situation, I've not assessed it, which doesn't make it quite tough with these questions to get it exact. So let's think about like the basic things. So what kind of attention are you giving, and what are you doing to actually fulfill your dog on the walk? Again, the walk has become very complicated for some people. They overcomplicate it, or some people just don't do enough. I see it all the time where dogs are just on flexi leads and they're just doing whatever they want the whole walk, which isn't enough for a lot of dogs, to be honest with you. What a dog needs is structure to the walk. If you look at a dog in its natural environment, they don't just walk around sniffing the whole time. There's a purpose to the walk. They will use the walk to either migrate to get from one place to another, or they use the walk to hunt for their food and work for it. So we can kind of bring in Mother Nature to our own pets, because we have to remember they are dogs first. As much as they're pets, they have needs, and we need to fulfill their needs. So what I'm kind of guessing is you're probably letting your dog kind of explore and sniff around and enjoy the world, but it's tuned out from you then, and more tuned into the world and tuned into the environment of people going past and bikes going past. So you've probably got an excited state of mind, to which then when a bike goes past, that excitement comes out towards the bike, and then it goes back to sniffing, and then she's barking at people. So let's not redirect when a bike comes along. Let's redirect from the very beginning. Let's structure our walk, and what I want you to start to maybe try and work on is teaching your dog to walk next to you and concentrate on you and where you're going. So your dog's mind starts to focus on you instead of the world that's around it. Now, a bit of a philosophy you can kind of think of is, if you look at a pack of dogs, the followers have to follow first before they can play or eat. So we can start to do this with our own dogs. When you leave the house, let's structure it. Let's teach the dog to calm down and wait before we go out of the door. So it's not just about you going out the door first. It's about actually recognizing that the dog's gone from an excited state because we're going out for a walk to a relaxed state and calm. Then we leave. This can take a little bit of time at the beginning, but your dog will get used to the new routine. So the door opens and your dog then goes into a relaxed state, and then we begin the walk. You're starting off as you mean to go on for the rest of the walk then. You've got a calm state of mind which follows you and watches you. Once you've kind of started to achieve that, then what we can do is maybe if sometimes that actually working on the root cause of the problem can actually get rid of a symptom. So fingers crossed it's that simple, but it might not be. What we can start to look at then is why else your dog might be barking at people or barking at dogs. A lot of the time, what I see in these situations is the dog hasn't been able to work first before we actually teach it to be calm around people or calm around bikes. So what your dog might be doing is actually putting its energy that it's got into wanting to chase a bike or bark at people or bark at dogs, because it just has to go somewhere. I've got all this pent up energy and this frustration. I'm just going to release it. And you see different symptoms with different dogs. When you see a dog that's just barking, or it's really pulling on the lead, or it's spinning around and chasing its tail, or it's sniffing everywhere, it's just not calm and concentrating. So what you can look at is maybe what your dog likes. So you could look at maybe playing fetch with your dog, or I like to use a flirt pole with my dog. If you look it up on Amazon, they're about £10. And there's YouTube videos out there on using flirt poles, which is basically a telescopic rod with a line and a little rope toy, which you can shake that about, and the dog chases it. So instead of just suppressing the urge to maybe chase or bark, we can actually put that energy, that your dog has somewhere else first, and then when we actually walk on the pathways in the streets, your dog hasn't got so much energy to put into that situation. So combining the two, releasing the energy of the dog first, like I say, you haven't got to use a flirt pole or play fetch. You find what you and your dog enjoy playing together. But it's more about redirecting the energy that your dog has, as opposed to just redirecting when the situation arises. So at that point, then once you've released the energy of the dog, and then we combine that with teaching your dog to walk next to you and follow you, and your dog has to concentrate on you, the two together should really help with no longer concentrating on people going by and bikes going by. Now, I want to cover a little bit of something else on this question as well, is the redirection. What we've got to be careful of, and I see this a lot, I'll go out to maybe a client's house and I'll ask, look, what have you tried before? And they might have had another trainer out, or 2 or 3 trainers, 4 trainers. And what I'm seeing a lot of people practice or recommend is redirecting the problem. Now, this is just focusing on the symptom. What I've just tried to discuss before is actually recognizing the root cause of the problem. But what we've got to be careful of is redirecting. A lot of people use food. Now, if you've got an unwanted behavior with a dog and then you add food into that situation, what we end up creating is the dog's understanding. The dog does a bit of a maths equation. If I do this, the food comes out. So I'm going to practice more of this unwanted behavior because I get fed for it. And at the end of the day, that's what a dog lives for a lot of the time. They live to survive and they live to eat. So if we're using food to distract, but through the dog's eyes, it's like, okay, so you want me to do this. That's what we've got to be careful of. I don't know if that's the case with you because I've not seen it, but just be aware of that situation, that we're not rewarding unwanted behaviors, because it will never go away if we do that. Now, what you can use for distraction, if you combine what I've said previously, what I do when I walk a dog is I ask the dog to follow me first. So I create a calm walk where the dog follows behind me or next to me. And every now and then we have a little bit of a break time. It might be every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Every dog's different. But this is an opportunity where the dog gets to finish its job of following you and have a little break for 5 minutes where it can sniff the lamppost, sniff a tree, pee on things, all the things dogs love to do. But that's break time. Now, if a dog likes to sniff and explore the world, when you actually release it from following you, and then the dog can have a little sniff, it actually enjoys that moment far more, as opposed to just smelling everything. So I would more redirect the nose than I would just necessarily just be feeding the dog, if that makes sense. So just be aware of that. When I'm saying teach a dog to follow you, that's not like the whole walk. We do have break times in between, but a dog likes to work. So let's give your little dog a job, and all dogs should have a little purpose and a little job. It's not about just sniffing the whole time. That's not fulfillment for a dog. It's not fulfilling enough. And this is why a lot of the time you see dogs that come back home from a walk just as excited or more excited than when they left, is because the brain hasn't actually had time to work or concentrate or drain energy. We work dogs, we should be working a dog's mind just as much as we should be working their body. This way we get to do both. The body is physically getting exercise and it's walking. And a lot of people make the mistake of, they feel like you need to get in the car and drive to a field and really run the dog to tire the dog out, which I see a lot of situations where it actually counteracts the problem. It's like I've taken the dog out for an hour or 2 hours. We've run, we've thrown balls, but the dog's still not tired. It's not that it's not tired, it's you've actually pumped the dog up and got it excited, and then brought it back home, and it's come home in an excited state. This is why teaching your dog to follow is so vital, because it gives the mind a chance to really work, concentrate, and exercise, and it's tiring. How I try and explain it is it's like when we drive. If you go for a long drive, even 2 hours, 3 hours, you need a break. Physically, you've not done much, but mentally, it's exhausting because you're concentrating. You've got to watch the road, you've got to read the road signs, you've got to watch the other cars. So that really tires you out. So actually teaching your dog to follow you kind of creates a similar situation. If you just go out for a jog, you come back, you're actually pumped up a little bit and you've got more energy. So we need to combine the two. Let's physically work the dog and have a run and have exercise and chase a ball, whatever it is you decide to do. But teach your dog to follow you and have a calm walk. That actually, before coming home, brings your dog home in a rested state and it gets a chance to settle. Um, Really hope this helps. Like I say, we can go more in depth with these situations, but I'm kind of going to take these questions and give a generic kind of answer and back to basics. But if you want to go a bit further, just get in touch, give us a call, and we can maybe have a Skype consultation. And anyone that's listened to this, if you've got any questions you want to send in, feel free. I might not be able to answer them all, so please don't take it personal. But just send the questions in, and if I can, I'll answer them. And I really hope these help people in these times. Best of luck, everyone.